Welcome to Getting Back Up, where grief meets growth.
Two men, two fathers, and one shared journey of rebuilding.
We're talking about life after cancer, love, loss, and everything no one tells you.
Well, let's get into it. When she passed, it was a strange, back to the countdown, it was a strange countdown. Yeah. Like one by one, our family members had to return to their family and friends, had to, hey, I'll be back in another week. I'm going to go back. I got to go to work. I'll go, I got this event. I mean, people were flying in, right? And so it was this gradual countdown at our house of like the all-stars are now like returning to their lives, planning to come back, but they're returning to their lives. And they don't know what they're coming back to.
That's true.
Right, to be honest. And it was literally down to like her sister had left, and then her best friend was supposed to leave like the next day. Mm-hmm. And you know, I had actually gone to work that day because I would kind of intermittently go to work, you know, take a couple days, go back, take a couple days, go back. And my team was great. So I went to work one day, and I think that like hand in some stuff that I needed to kind of get done before. And I needed the distraction, to be honest. And her friend called me and was like, Janice wants to sign the DNR. The do not resuscitate.
Sure.
Yeah. And she had never, like, it was literally sitting on the table, like, the whole time. Like, the whole time, I mean, we're now a month, the hospice was here, did not want to sign it, right? And I wouldn't ask her, but they would ask her. Like, the nurses would come and they're like, are you ready to, have you thought about it?
Wow.
And she'd like, no. She'd kind of mouth to them, no, I don't want to. Or just shake her head. And in this particular day, you know, her friend called me and I went home and I asked her, are you sure? And she's just like, yeah. And I was like, okay, all right. So I get the paper and give her a pen, and she kind of scribbles her signature, and I call the nurse and I tell them like she decided to sign the DNR. It's here when you're ready to come pick it up. So we'll come and look at it on our regular route. They kind of had a cycle of people. They would leave for a couple hours, come back. They would leave for like an hour, come back for 3. Leave for an hour, come back for 3. So they had kind of like a routine. Yeah. And they came back, left. She was fine. I came back that night. And the next day, I went out to get something to eat for everybody. And her best friend was sitting with her reading. And then I came back and I was like, do you want to take a break so you can go shower, do your thing, whatever? And she was like, oh yeah. I was like, go eat, whatever. And I'm reading the 5 love languages. And she looks at me and she's like, and she barely could talk. She's barely talked the last few days. She's like, what are you reading? And I would like show her, I was like, oh, like 5 love languages. And she started cracking, like she literally laughed. Right? Like I was like, oh, that's funny. And she was just like, now, right? Like she, right? Like now you want to figure this out? And I'm like, oh, you're like, okay, funny. Right. And then, you know, the kids come in. One of the kids come in, Zaya and my oldest, Jackie. They were running around playing, and Janice calls Zaya over and she says, be nice to Jackie. And Zaya's like, I am. She's like, no, be nice to Jackie. Now, to give the context, like Zaya was the youngest, but she was the toughest. Jackie was the older of my 2 biological, but she was like very sweet and like not confrontational. And we would joke that Zaya would bully her around, but Jackie just loved her little sister, right? So anyway, she's like, Jackie, just be nice to Jackie. And she's like, I am. And then she looked at Jackie, and Jackie ran out. And she's like, oh, she's being nice to me, Mom. We're playing. And she's like, okay, Jackie, come here. You take care of Zaya. And I'm listening to this and kind of reading, and I'm like, okay. And literally, like, walked out of the room to go check on the kids. And Evelyn kind of walked in. We kind of crossed. We were kind of
The friend who was
her friend. And
taking a shift.
yeah, we kind of like we were just kind of like, at this point we were just kind of like sitting together. Like, she came, she'd sit, and it was kind of just float in, float out. And I walked out, and then Evelyn yelled for me. And I kind of got up and jogged to the bedroom, and she was passing. And I called her mother. And, she came. The kids were playing. So we closed the door, and she passed.
Wow.
And it was a insanely horrible, beautiful, scary, like every emotion all at once. Like, not happy in the context of joy, but happy in the context of relief, for me at least. And her mother was hysterical.
Yeah.
And her friend Evelyn was there, and she was, distraught but holding it together.
Yeah.
And I just asked, I was like, can you just keep the kids out of the room? Just go and sit with them for a little while. And that was the moment. That was it. My wife was gone.
Yeah, our children weren't there.
They were.
Were
They
not.
were not. Okay.
We brought the girls in earlier on when she seemed lucid, maybe? So earlier on. So that is interesting how, not interesting, but I think in the moment you were so smart to, okay, now this is something else with your mother. Now we have to work on this stage.
Yeah.
Let me do this in time. You didn't know, but you knew.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take them out now, and we'll deal with that in a second.
Right.
I remember when Nalani passed, we were in the hospital, as I said, because it was hospice in the hospital. Everybody surrounding her, mother, father, were there finally. And I remember her friends, different people. One in particular, she's, as I might have mentioned to you at one point, and I think you've met this friend actually, but she's usually just a bundle of energy all the time, usually. Just kind of she always has something funny to say, always. And I remember her asking again and again, when Nalani had passed, the moment she had passed, what do you mean she's dead? She can't be dead.
Right.
I mean, she knew it was coming, and there was this whole life around what was happening in that hospital and dying and all the stages and all the roles everyone had when people came, and it was this other life to her death.
Right.
Or marching to that point.
Right.
And realizing that all these people who had come to the hospital and with our appointed tasks and responsibilities, that's over now.
Right.
As if because there was life, it seemed, in this passage to and transition to death. And soon people went their separate ways. I'll never forget, man. They had to put her in, I don't know, flexible sarcophagus. I don't know what you call it, but it was something that they zip her up. It's not like a body bag,
Right.
But it was white and it had structure on all sides, and it came a few feet off of her body. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget seeing her chest not rise and fall anymore. I'll never forget that, Jamal. I'll never forget that.
Yep.
So I just remember we all kind of, as I said, folks were going their separate ways and hugging each other and bringing cars around for those who drove into the city and all my different friends who were there. And just different questions that are asked me, which I remember one asking me about, well, I think I'll save that for another episode of the conversation.
That'll be the episode. Crazy things people say.
That's a topic for us guys, so look for that. But I just remember my father-in-law, because I'm going into planning mode now. I'm going into how I've been taught. When my mother has always prepared herself for when that time comes for her, as did her mother, and gave us the wisdom, the gift that my either mother or grandmother always said, never be a burden to your children. So they had always prepared for this time for themselves. My grandmother moving from her home when she couldn't get around to a place that she could be taken care of. Stopped driving when she got into a minor accident, although giving her car and driving up is surrendering her freedom and her world closing in and what have you. And anyway, I say all that to say more kind of, I guess wisdom is a term here for this episode because I keep saying it so much.
Yeah.
However, that's what you need and comfort you need in these situations. I remember my father-in-law saying, because I'm thinking, got to tell the girls. There's a wonderful woman who helps us with the girls at that time, who still does to this day. And I said, I knew I couldn't call her at home. Yeah. Because she's with the kids. Right. She would have a reaction. Right. So my father-in-law said, news is best given in the morning. So we waited and drove home, and I had to relieve the woman who helps us with the girls. Yeah. And the girls were already asleep and all that. She had taken care of that because it was late, and probably early morning by the time I got home. I remember two things. The first thing is, no sooner did I get home, I get a call from the iBank looking for the donation. We need to move quickly. We need to have.
Oh, she donated her.
They want it. We gotta harvest these. We gotta do it. And it was a real test of, you said you were ready for this next moment, the next episodes, the next chapter here. This is it, brother. Yeah. You have to make really tough decisions now. Yeah. Though clinical for them and saving the life of somebody else, I have to think that way now too. Wow. I'll never forget that.
That's crazy.
I just got home, man.
Yeah.
So then the woman who takes care of our children, especially during this period of time, I remember bringing her downstairs. Hey, I got to tell you something. So I remember going downstairs, and we're just sitting down. We were in an apartment building at this time. And I had to tell her that Nalani passed. So she has to go through those stages of the shock, the grief, the reaction, the crying, telling her stories, her memories, hearing how it happened, and all of that. Yeah. So we were down there for like 45 minutes, probably an hour, and I'm dropping to this tone. I know. And
now you're consoling her.
I'm consoling her.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But she just passed. Yeah. Nalani, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I just remember that, and it got late. I said, well, let me walk you to your car. And so we go out to the car.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure you get home and whatever. She does a little key fob, blip, blip. Yeah. I see the lights flicker on a Porsche SUV. And I was like,
oh, you doing all right.
How much are we paying her? That she got a nicer car.
It's a good distraction. It's a necessary distraction in the moment.
The humor.
But the humor and the whole, like,
in a very dire, traumatic situation.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to keep it calm, Jamal. Yes, I know it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that car is nicer than mine.
Right.
What in the... Okay, get home safely and give me a call. Yeah. So it's just one of those situations that I'll just never forget.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So, but
yeah, I think and we'll wrap up here, but I think similarly before we do, I think your experience in when and how you tell the car, I think that's a good pickup.
Yeah.
For where we kind of like start having that conversation about like what is like the next day like.
Yeah.
Right? Like whether it's a long day when you lose your spouse.
Yeah.
I think it was just before midday for me when she passed. Mm-hmm. The day seemed like 3 days. Like I felt like nighttime would never come. And
did you even sleep?
No. No, I didn't. And even worse was she passed in the house. Right? So that was even the more challenge for me. But I think that's the part where, and I think I want to thank everybody for listening today, because this was intended to be a very heavy episode.
Yeah.
Because I don't think everybody could kind of get the gravity of why this experience of loss is so difficult or so important to move from the next day.
Yeah.
Right. So from how we tell our kids to how we engage family to how we recognize like, okay, it's real. It's getting serious. And I need to be present, or what does presence look like?
Yeah.
Right. I think all of those things are important to be able to reflect on how they play into your ability to move forward.
Yeah. Because then it's this other energy for funeral / memorial / celebration of life.
Yeah.
And you need to have that energy for yourself, the
and
people around you, all of that.
Your kids.
That's a whole other episode, essentially.
Yeah. So, man, I appreciate you sharing today, brother.
Yeah.
I mean, there was tissue needed a couple times for me in this episode.
We're gonna need to get Kleenex sponsorship or somebody.
We're gonna start requesting sponsorships, but no, for real. I think, I appreciate you being so honest with your experience.
Yeah,
I appreciate everybody listening to this. For those who hopefully it touched you, hopefully it was something you felt and could understand, but also you can feel like if you happen to have gone through it, it's okay. Right? Know that it's okay. And again, we always say, don't be afraid to reach out to the people who love you. Don't be afraid to reach out to a therapist, a group, all the resources that, you may not think are cool or manly or appropriate. They're all there. I mean, people have been doing this and having these conversations way longer than David and I have.
That's right.
But, be strong and don't be afraid to reach out to the people who are there for you.
There it is.
That's it. Appreciate you joining us for Getting Back Up. Thank you.
Peace.
Thank you for joining us on Getting Back Up, Finding Life After Death. If something in today's episode spoke to you, pass it on, because somebody out there needs to hear this.
For sure. We're on all the social mausoleums. So follow us on Instagram, Threads, TikTok. Mostly it will be in the form of Get Back Up Podcast.
And be sure to subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcast.
And remember, getting knocked down is part of life.
But getting back up is how we live.
We'll see y'all next time.